Hello everyone, this is Zafar Abundance Wala and you're watching Abundance Show on Global Abundance Organization GAO TV. Dr. Elena Carruba is strategic change and performance transformation leader specializing in turning complex fragmented systems into coherent high performance environments. With a PhD and senior fellowship of the Higher Education Academy SFHEA, she brings deep expertise in governance, quality, and scalable organizational change. Her work focuses on diagnosing performance gaps, aligning strategy with delivery, and implementing measurable, sustainable solutions. She led large scale transformation initiatives across higher education, improving progression, reducing reassessment, and embodying and embedding data driven decision making. Elena is particularly recognized for her ability to bridge strategy and execution, design frameworks that not only define direction but deliver real impact. Her approach combines analytical rigor with a strong focus on people, capability development, and long term organizational resilience. Welcome aboard, Dr. Alina. How are you?
Hello, I'm fine, thank you.
I'm honored to have you on my show, and you are since an abundant personality. So I look for the people like yourself, and I request them to honor my show. Thank you so much for being there. My first question ever is, can you please let us know your life journey?
My life journey is linked to change, and this is why I'm focusing on change in my career. Change is the core for survival. To be the fittest, survival of the fittest, as it was defined, is to be fit and change your being fit according to the circumstances. So, being myself an immigrant from different countries, I had to build structures and change them every time I moved from one place to another. However, I was consistent in my higher education career. I tried to implement these principles from life to work. And the reason why change is the survival of anyone, and survival means thriving because you're fit, you're flexible, you can change easily, and change in general is faced by fear. People worry a lot when it comes to change. It can be a simple life change experience, like going to the gym for the first time and how to maintain this new habit, into a diet, into moving to a new business industry, or simply changing life as getting married or divorced or moving countries. So my journey is a true journey. It's moving geographically and adapting. And I learned that adaptation and flexibility are key to my success. That comes from my experience. But then from a philosophical approach, from a scientific approach, evolution, survival, change, adaptability make anyone a good, successful person.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Elena. My first question is about positioning and value. What specific problem do you solve for organizations?
Well, to solve problems in organizations, we require to know what's happening in the organization. So first of all is the contact, knowing, studying, picking up what's going on. So in general, I help organizations turn complexity into clarity. Sometimes not naming things, not giving them a name and defining them is the very first issue an organization is facing. In practice, this means improving academic quality, strengthening leadership quality or capability, aligning strategy with delivery, and making sure teams are working together from the same direction and towards the same goals. So I help create systems, language, structure that make progress visible and sustainable. Visible, it's through the results and data, and sustainable, that's through time. It endures time.
Wow, thank you so much. My next question is, how do you differentiate yourself from other consultants or academic leaders?
It's a very good question. Thank you. It is the combination of strategic leadership, quality improvement, and people development. And they are all at the same level of importance. So I do not only organize or design ideas, I help embed them, and I help get these ideas from the ground, from the people. So what they are doing is very important. What they are feeling is very important. So I design and embed systems, but my approach is grounded in evidence. But it's also practical, and mainly it's a human and a humane, highly adaptable. So the key word today is change and adaptability. I bring a lot of academic background to what I do, a lot of research. As a change manager, from a change manager lens, there is a strong focus on culture, because real transformation only lasts when people feel ownership of this change, of this system.
Wow, thank you so much. My next question to me is the most difficult one. What measurable outcomes have you delivered?
Yeah, so years ago when I started helping academics in recognizing their achievements through Advanced HE, through the fellowships, the first thing that I found difficult, they find it difficult when I explain it, is how to measure impact. That was the question that made the difference in their careers and in mine. So, measurable outcomes to me and what I have delivered come from the improvements in staff development, in curriculum coherence, in clarity, consistency, in learning and teaching enhancement, and cross-team alignment. So my work has supported stronger consistency across provision, more structured use of quality processes, and more confident academic communities. So I have many areas to work on to reach these targets and see these improvements and measure them. There is a before, a mid, and after, and they are all measured so I can see the impact. I can see the performance, and I can measure the improvement. I hope this answers the question.
Yeah, this is amazing. Thank you so much. The next question is exactly what Dr. Elena Carruba is all about. I mean, you're the queen of strategy and execution. My question is about the same strategy and execution. This is one of the most difficult thing in one's life and in also in organizations too. Everybody lacks strategy, and if somebody has this strategy, then they lack in execution. So these are like heart and mind of the whole discussion we are going through today is strategy and execution, and you are there for making it happen. How do you identify gaps in an organization? What is your approach to tuning strategy into implementation? And lastly, can you give an example of complex change you transformed?
Okay, so this is three-dimensional question, to be honest. So we'll take the first dimension, which is the gaps. So there is something that I like very much in identifying the gaps is listening carefully to people. That's the first level. Second is reviewing the data. It's not less important. It's at the same level of importance. Observing practice. So making the difference here, identifying the gap between aspiration and reality. So what people aspire or they say or they believe they are doing and reality. So these are the different areas I need to see where there is the gap exactly. And comparing policy with lived experience, with quality assurance, with governance, with the sector. Then I pay attention to patterns. I think this is one of my strengths. My colleagues recognize in me recognizing patterns easily and immediately. So where people are repeating the same work, where expectations are unclear, where communication is unclear, where delivery depends on individuals rather than systems, which is here to balance, and where there is untapped potential. So gaps usually become visible when you connect evidence, culture, operations, the workflow. So the second part of your question, if I remember, is about turning the strategy into implementation. So first of all, a strategy should be usable, manageable, doable, achievable. So it should talk to the capacities, the present capacities in the organization. That means translating also broad ambitions into priorities, into practical priorities, roles, timelines, and practical actions. Sometimes I call them simply verbs: to do, to organize, to account, etc. It's a very simple way. When I call them verbs, people get what they have to do. It's an action. I like to work in phases also. I like clarity. I create ownership. I test all along. So I need feedback from the start till the end, non-stop. I evaluate a lot honesty. So I need the feedback to be genuine and honest, and then scale that works.
That the scale that works, that's what the organization do look for. Though my next question is Gail again for scalability and impact, and that is again, the outcome every organization would love to have. How do you ensure your solutions are scalable across teams and systems? What KPIs do you typically use to measure success?
So for any um, actions to work to be scalable, um, they need to be supported by routines, not just words or enthusiasm. That's the aspiration part. Because strategy only has value when it changes everyday behavior. And I think we had earlier a conversation about changing behavior and how challenging it is to change one's own brain, and one's own approach to anything, an issue, or establish a new habit. So basically, it is establishing new habits, but they are manageable. They are studied from different perspectives, as I said, from people's capacities, so resources, aligning with the goals or the targets of the organization.
Great. Thank you so much. My next question is the last one. It's about collaboration and fit. How would you work with external partners or experts on our platform? The question from my heart. And what type of organizations or challenges are best fit for your expertise?
Um, so the first part is about partners and experts. I would work best in partnership. I like to start by understanding the context, the constraints, the resources, the desired outcomes, then align roles that expertise is used strategically rather than duplicated. I really emphasize communication, and there are no limits on emphasizing communication. Communication is core in any collaborative work. Um, so, briefly, I bring structure, insight, and follow through. I measure, I have feedback, then reestablish a strategy again. So, transparency is very important. Practical development tools are needed, constant intervention, and feedback loops. So, this is the first part, I think, of the question. The second part, if I remember, is it challenges? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
My
challenges.
best fit to my expertise. Thank you for sharing the question. So I'm best suited for organizations that are navigating change, growth, complexity, or quality improvement. That's where I thrive. My work is a very valid and fits in. This includes also universities, but not only transnational education contexts, academic partnerships, institutions that want to strengthen governance, teaching quality staff development, strategic alignment. Yeah, so short-term fixes are not my my how to say my way of work. They are short-term. They are needed for the day, for the month, to survive that issue momentarily. So I work on sustainable improvement. So I go to the core and I ask my 5 whys, why and why and why, till I get to the point that needs change.
I got another question also. Since you're a writer, would you just give us a glimpse about your books? How many books did you write?
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm going to try and share my screen with you in this case, so we can see. So Windows here, yeah. So I'm sharing my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I am just, yeah, it's here, it is.
Yeah. Okay. So this is my Amazon page. As you can see, this is the author introduction, the bio. Then the most popular book is The Immigrant Manifesto here, Navigating Legacy, Identity, and Human Flow in Changing Global Landscape. You'll find change in all my books, but they are completely different. So my approach to change here is a global, changing globally, the world changing and seeing identity in a different way. There is more fluidity around identity and a lot of, how to say, conversation or debate around immigration. So I wanted to voice immigration from an immigrant's point of view and how this is deeply transformative experience, uprooting and sometimes or most of the time, if not all, a traumatic experience where you lose all your roots, your habits, your environment into a new, completely new one, and you start from scratch, start introducing yourself from scratch as if you were nothing before that. You see transformative leadership or emotional alchemists. I love the word alchemists. I use it in a completely different environment here, which is leadership. Then here, another book on AIQ, which is IQ amplified by AI. So AIQ, savvy, and EQ, shrewd vanguard leader. So vanguard leader is also encapsulating the idea of change or the ones who bring change to the world. I have translations of the books, but one of my also important books is Transformative Approaches, Local and Global Solutions for Sustainable Education Challenges. This one is built around SDGs by the United Nations implemented in higher education with approaches, how to transform our classes, our teaching. Local and global solutions is very important. Here comes the partnership part of my endeavor. So here, these are books when I was younger and thinking about the world from a different perspective, the quest for authenticity in ethnospaces, mythical realism. So this term I coined in my PhD. So this is a new term in academia, mythical realism, inspired from magical realism, and all come from post-colonial literature or world literature. And the quest is, as you know, the quest is a search for, okay? A search for requires movement, it requires change to find that authenticity, to define it, or become one. Then the mirror and the quest, again, the search for identity, for who we are, what we want to be. And here I use the psychoanalytical approach, phenomenological approach, and metacognition in the poetry of Wallace Stevens. So metacognition is still one of my most important and favorite words. I used it yesterday in a communication with all our lecturers to use the last session post-submission as a metacognitive session where you reflect on your process of learning, your learning journey, what you've learned, what you could do better next time, and what you expect to learn. So that's all transformative, all moving, either inside, so introspective, it's within your brain or your psyche or your heart to find also your identity and what you want to do in life and what you want to be in life. And so this one I have introduced already, but it's a Kindle. The other one was Kindle, and this one is hard copy. So yeah, these are my books. And this is my channel. I know you're going to ask about my channel.
Yeah, sure. You read my mind. Thank you so much. I mean, sure, yes. And there are many more questions on the way, but this was also one of the curiosity question.
Yeah, so this is my YouTube channel. It's Change Academy with Dr. Elena C. And this channel specifically is called the Euno, Praxis, and Nexus. So these are Greek terms. The Euno is the good idea, the good thinking. Praxis is practice. And Nexus is future you or future organization. So what you want to be. So it's the amalgamation of three ideas, three approaches. Think, practice, implement, and then see the vision. Make it, implement it. It's a channel where I talk a lot about AI, but I'm not a specialist in AI. I don't say, for example, how to use AI, although I say it within a practical sense, so in a practical way. So how to use AI to achieve your goals or learn a language or different ways, but it's not only AI. What I'm saying is AI by itself isn't going to create a balance. It's going to terribly shake the balance we have always known as humanity. So what we need is the matrix. And the matrix is emotional intelligence, ethical intelligence, and social intelligence, along with the use of AI to amplify your IQ. And I approach it from different perspectives in learning and achieving, in organization, in thinking about the system, the economic system in the world, in really diversified way. So there are really no limits on how to deal with the world or redefine or reread the world from these three perspectives. So this matrix, a power engine to read the new world.
Thank you so much. Dr. Elena, nobody can claim to be the master of AI, or even those who are generating every now and then these new LLMs. They also don't, they even nobody can claim. As you said, I mean, I'm not master of AI, but nobody is. So what you're doing is amazing. You are generating value out of AI. That's what is required, and that's why the AI is already there. Okay, my next question is about your dream. What's your dream, and how far you have achieved it?
Okay, I'm going to stop sharing first. Okay, my dream. So my dream is to reach a point where I can help organizations and people see the new reality with AI, but with a strong emotional and ethical intelligence. So let's say that the first thing to keep us human and humane is to build up this emotional intelligence. People think it's, when I first presented my how to say, the first time I spoke about emotional intelligence in my organization in the past, I had one of the senior colleagues saying that to be emotional, that's a woman's thing. And you can understand that there is a huge misunderstanding of what emotional intelligence is. I can give you one example of what it is. Self-awareness is the hardest, and I advocate a harsh self-awareness. Means facing yourself, your inner self, your shadow, your darkest sides, everything with courage, and naming it and giving it a true embodiment on paper, or somehow word map. You can use different ways, but you have to see it, to see the reality of the inside of your brain, what's happening there, and how you're reacting, and why you're reacting, and where this reaction comes from, and what you want every time you react in that way. However, in these presentations across 13 campuses at that time, I had enlightened people who approached me. Listen, Elena, I have a problem. I can't control my anger. I have issues even with my students because I don't know how to navigate my emotions. And this is not helping me in my career, in my private life. And that's very, very important to recognize. That's the first step ever, and that's very brave. Once you say that, utter that sentence, you're ready to start to navigate the harsh awareness of yourself. Once you know yourself very, very well, and you know how you're sabotaging yourself, for example, in your work or in your private life or with the friends or socially or politically, then you'll understand other things. And once you pinpoint to all these areas, then you establish how to control them, and you learn. And the learning takes years of building habits, of learning how to be quiet, to wait, to have a pause, the power of pause. So these things, this is just one aspect of emotional intelligence, because this impacts you, impacts the others, impacts the people you care for. It impacts everyone, and it brings your life into catastrophic results at work, with colleagues, at home. So what you need to know, it's so broad, emotional intelligence, that it can encapsulate social intelligence, but we established, so researchers established social intelligence separately from knowing the other as equal to self-awareness, that process of defining what others, how others impact you, impact them, in the interaction between that self you have studied for a long time and the other self, the selves around you, the others. So if we know this, and we know how others feel, what we feel, and how to manage these emotions. So emotional intelligence is not about feeling only, it's about working out in your brain these emotions, knowing them, studying them as if you're studying a persona, a character in a laboratory. You have to really observe yourself. And this will link to the future with others, with political changes in the world, movement in the world, immigration in the world, and mainly AI. Because what AI is saying, is doing nowadays, is replacing human beings by giving access to facilitating tasks, So some jobs are going to disappear with time. Um, and we have to see the reality in its continuous rapid change, and it can be completely different reality that no one human being has ever witnessed before us. So it requires that awareness and that feeling and that reducing of the selfish um, behaviors that we sometimes tend to have in businesses, um, and recognize the others and try to work closely with the others.
Thank you so much. I please accept my heartfelt gratitude for your time, your mission, your vision, your expertise that you shared with us. And I really look forward to the series of podcasts with you. I think it may take 50 podcasts and so to cover bit of your life, bit of your work, bit of your things that you're already there. Thank you so much, Dr. Elena, being on my show. I'm so grateful. See you again soon. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye. It was a pleasure.
Stay blessed.